Have you ever wondered why some students walk out of the IELTS speaking test smiling, completely confident, while others leave stressed, unsure, and disappointed? The difference isn't luck, expensive courses, or a perfect accent. It's a set of strategies and habits that Band 9 students use. And today, I'm going to reveal exactly how you can do the same. By the end of this video, you'll see that speaking English confidently under pressure isn't impossible. You'll learn how to answer naturally, stay calm, and impress the examiner every single time, no matter what question they throw at you. Let's dive in and transform the way you approach your IELTS speaking test. I'm going to reveal exactly what Band 5-6 students do that holds them back, and what Band 7-9 students do differently. The surprisingly simple habits, the mindset shifts, and the speaking techniques that skyrocket their scores. Part 1 is often ignored by students, but I believe it's the most important section for building momentum. When you speak well in Part 1, you immediately relax, your fluency improves, your nerves disappear, and the examiner starts seeing you as a higher band candidate. But here's the problem. There are 3 major mistakes Band 5 and 6 students repeat over and over again in Part 1. And after analyzing thousands of speaking tests, I can tell you that every low band student shares these exact habits. Before I reveal them, I want you to watch 2 imaginary students answering the same question. Think about who is closer to Band 5-6 and who sounds like Band 7-9, and more importantly, why. Do you enjoy reading?
Yes, I enjoy reading because when I was small, my father used to bring me storybooks, and I remember one book about animals. It was really interesting. And also, nowadays, I don't get much time, but sometimes I read online articles about health and politics, but not every day because I'm busy with my job.
Yes, I enjoy reading. It helps me relax after a long day. Recently, I've been reading a psychology book, and it has really changed the way I understand human behavior.
Now, which one sounds like a 5-6 and which one sounds like a 7-9? The difference might seem obvious, but the real reason goes deeper than better English. Let's break it down. Examiners are trained, almost programmed, to detect memorized answers instantly. Why? Because IELTS is not a memory test. It's a communication test. When you memorize answers, you sound robotic, your tone becomes flat, your fluency drops, and your natural speaking rhythm disappears. And worst of all, the examiner stops seeing your real level. Here's the truth. If you needed to memorize answers to sound fluent, then you're not really fluent. Now listen to this. I come from Pakistan, which is a very cultural and traditional country with many festivals and many beautiful places to visit, and the people are very hospitable and the food is very delicious. Does it sound correct? Yes. Does it sound natural? Absolutely not. It sounds like you're reading from your brain like a textbook. And you know what? This is the reason why examiners interrupt students in Part 1. Not because they're rude, but because the student is giving a long, memorized, unnatural speech. When that happens, your confidence drops, and you start thinking, oh no, the examiner hates my answer. So you become even more stressed. This stress reduces fluency, which reduces score, which increases fear, which reduces fluency again. A complete cycle. But don't worry, there's an incredibly simple fix. When you entered an exam, you try too hard. You overthink. You use unnatural language. You forget how you actually speak, and you start performing instead of communicating. Band 5-6 students fall into test mode. Believe it or not, the best answers in Part 1 are the simplest ones. Band 7-9 students avoid test mode. They speak naturally. The simple formula Band 7-9 students use in Part 1. They directly answer the question and add a little natural detail. Not big speeches, not essays, not memorized introductions. Just a simple, human conversation. Watch this style. Do you enjoy cooking?
Yeah, I do. I'm not a great cook, but I enjoy making quick meals after work. It helps me relax.
Direct, natural, human. Why this works? Because IELTS doesn't want robotic speeches. It wants natural fluency, short explanations, simple, clear ideas, confident delivery. And any student can do this. Imagine sitting down in the exam room. The examiner hands you the cue card and says, you have 1 minute to prepare and up to 2 minutes to speak. Your topic is, describe a memorable trip you took. Many students freeze at this moment. They panic. They think, I can't speak for 2 minutes. What if I run out of things to say? And that fear alone is enough to make Band 5-6 students spiral. Common mistakes Band 5-6 students make in Part 2. 1. Following the bullet points too strictly. They try to cover every bullet point on the card in order, no matter if they have anything meaningful to say. Example, where I went to Paris. What I did, I walked. The weather, it was sunny. How I felt happy. Notice how disconnected and robotic it sounds. And after 30 to 40 seconds, they run out of ideas and panic. 2. Overthinking vocabulary or grammar. Band 5-6 students worry about using perfect words or fancy structures. They get stuck. Should I say I was elated or delighted or happy? Meanwhile, the clock keeps ticking and fluency drops. 3. Rushing or speaking too fast. Because they panic, their speaking becomes rushed. They lose clarity and make mistakes, which lowers pronunciation and coherence scores. How Band 7-9 students approach Part 2. Band 7-9 students do something very simple, but extremely powerful. They pick 1 or 2 bullet points to emphasize. They answer naturally, using examples, stories, or personal feelings. They feel free to add related details that make the story richer.
A trip that I'll never forget was my visit to Kyoto in Japan. I stayed there for a week and was amazed by the temples and gardens. On the first day, I visited the famous Fushimi Inari Shrine. Walking through the endless torii gates was surreal. I felt like I was in a movie. I also tried some local dishes like sushi and matcha desserts. The food was incredible, and I loved learning about the culture. Overall, it was relaxing and inspiring, and I hope to go back someday.
They answered directly. A trip I'll never forget. They expand naturally with examples and feelings. They stay on topic, but add personal details. They don't stress over covering every bullet point. Think of Part 2 as a conversation with yourself about a topic. You're not being tested on covering bullet points. You're being tested on your ability to speak naturally and coherently for 2 minutes. So instead of following a rigid structure, say what comes naturally. Describe a memory, give your feelings, add a short story, include a tiny opinion or reflection. That's it. Most students waste the 1-minute preparation by writing long notes or trying to memorize answers. Band 7-9 students do this instead. Pick a structure in your mind. Introduction, main event, feelings, reflection. Think of 2 or 3 key points or examples. Visualize the story in your mind and speak naturally when your turn comes. This method reduces panic, boosts fluency, and makes your answer sound human. Example of a weak answer. Cue card, describe a hobby you enjoy. Notice the problems.
I like painting. I usually paint on weekends. I learn from YouTube videos. Sometimes I paint flowers. Sometimes I paint landscapes. I like colors. I also like brushes. Yeah. One hobby I really enjoy is painting. I usually spend a few hours on weekends creating watercolor landscapes. I learned most of my techniques from YouTube, which helped me practice at my own pace. What I love most is capturing the light and colors of nature. It feels relaxing and rewarding. Sometimes I share my paintings with friends, and their feedback motivates me to improve. Painting has really become my personal escape from the daily stress of work.
Key differences. Clear, connected sentences, adds personal feelings and examples, stays on topic but expands naturally, and sounds confident and fluent. Some students panic when a topic seems unfamiliar. They say, I don't really know. Maybe, I don't have hobbies. Band 7-9 students handle it differently. Attempt the answer even if the topic is unusual. Connect it to personal experience or related topic.
Band 7 to 9 students often use micro-stories. Describe a small moment.
I remember the first time I visited the shrine.
Include feelings. I felt.
Amazed and inspired.
Add sensory details.
The smell of the flowers and the sound of the river.
Optional. Reflection.
This experience taught me patience and mindfulness.
These small stories make your answer rich, memorable, and fluent without sounding rehearsed. Secret Band 9 strategy for part 2. Pick 1 to 2 bullet points you feel confident about. Answer them directly and naturally. Add short examples, feelings, or micro-stories. Ignore bullet points you cannot speak about. Keep the focus on the main topic. Use simple transitions. For example, what I really enjoyed was, it also made me feel. By doing this, you control the content, stay relaxed, and speak for the full 2 minutes with ease. Have you ever noticed that part 3 of the IELTS speaking test feels different, more intense, more stressful, more like an interrogation rather than a conversation? That's because it is designed to stretch your English skills, your fluency, coherence, ability to express opinions, and use complex structures naturally. And it's often the part where Band 5 to 6 students crumble, while Band 7 to 9 students shine effortlessly. But here's the secret. Part 3 is not about knowing everything. It's about how you answer, saying "I don't know," or giving no answer. When asked a challenging question like, "Do you think governments should invest more in space exploration?" many students panic and respond with, "I don't know, maybe," or "I haven't thought about it." This instantly signals to the examiner that your English is not sufficient. Even if you know a little, a weak or hesitant answer can lower your score drastically. Giving very short answers. Another typical response, "Yes, they should," or "No, I don't think so." Short answers show that you are avoiding complex ideas and are not demonstrating the full range of your speaking ability. Band 5 to 6 students do this out of fear, overloading with memorized phrases. Some students panic and try to sound smart by using memorized complex sentences, often awkwardly. Band 7 to 9 students approach part 3 differently, with structure, clarity, and natural examples. Key step 1, always attempt an answer. Even if you feel unsure, attempt an answer. This is more important than perfection. Example. Question. Do you think governments should invest more in space exploration?
That's a tough one, but I think they should because exploring space can lead to new discoveries and technologies that benefit everyone. For example, GPS and weather forecasts are all related to space research. I also think it's important for humans to have a bigger understanding of the universe.
Notice what they do. Directly answer the question. Provide reasoning. Add a personal or general example. Keep it natural and coherent. Even if you don't know much about space, you can use this formula for any topic. Key step 2. Explain, give examples, and reflect. A Band 9 answer often follows this simple 4-step structure. 1. Answer directly. 2. Explain why. 3. Give an example or personal story. 4. Reflect or add a different perspective. Example question. What skills do you think are essential for success in life? Band 9 student answer.
I think communication and empathy are crucial. A good communicator can express ideas clearly and influence others. Empathy helps you understand other people and their feelings. For example, when working in a team, a good communicator can make sure everyone understands their role and is feeling supported. Overall, I think social skills are more important than technical skills for long-term success.
Notice the flow. It's structured, yet conversational, and it covers multiple points without sounding rehearsed. What Band 5 to 6 students do wrong? Let's compare answers for the same question. Question. Do you think children should learn to play musical instruments?
Band 5 to 6 student answer. Yes, I think children should learn music. It helps build their mind and gives them a skill.
Band 9 student answer. Absolutely. I think learning a musical instrument is wonderful for children. Not only does it help them develop creativity and discipline, but it also enhances their cognitive skills like memory and attention. For example, studies have shown that children who play musical instruments tend to perform better academically. Plus, it's a fun and rewarding hobby they can enjoy throughout their lives.
Differences are clear, structured, natural, expanded with examples and reasoning, but still concise. Handle difficult topics. Some Part 3 questions will be tough, and Band 5 to 6 students often panic. But Band 7 to 9 students use a simple bridge strategy. Admit partial knowledge if needed. I'm not very familiar with this topic, but connect to personal experience or opinion. Give reasoning or example. Focus on clarity, not fancy words. Let's watch mock test with Band 9 answers.
Today's IELTS speaking topic is something beautiful, refreshing, and surprisingly common in the exam. Flowers.
Yes, flowers appear in Part 1 questions, Part 2 cue cards, and even in Part 3 discussions about nature, environment, and culture.
We'll guide you through all 3 parts, show you natural answers, useful vocabulary, and help you sound more fluent and confident.
So make sure you watch till the end, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and share your own answers in the comments.
Let's begin with Part 1. Simple personal questions. Ryan, I'll start with you. Question 1. Do you like flowers?
Yes, I really like flowers. They make any place feel fresh and lively. Whenever I see colorful flowers in a garden, it instantly lifts my mood.
Great. Notice how he added emotional detail. Lifts my mood. This makes the answer natural. Question 2. Do you have a favorite flower?
Yes, my favorite flower is the rose. I love its soft petals and the pleasant fragrance it has. Roses also come in many colors, so they always look beautiful.
Perfect. Simple description plus a reason. That's what you need for Part 1. Question 3. Do people in your country like flowers?
Yes, definitely. People in my country love using flowers for celebrations, weddings, and even religious events. Flowers symbolize happiness and respect, so they're part of many traditions.
Nice. You added cultural context. Great for scoring high. Question 4. Do you ever buy flowers for someone?
Yes, I sometimes buy flowers for family or friends, especially on birthdays or special events. It's a simple way to show care, and people always appreciate it.
Exactly. In Part 1, keep your answers short but meaningful.
Let's share some useful vocabulary and phrases you can use when talking about flowers.
Here are some helpful words. Fragrant, having a pleasant smell. Blooming, opening up. Flowering, petals, the soft, colorful parts of a flower. Bouquet, a bunch of flowers. Freshly picked, taken from the plant recently. Seasonal flowers, flowers that grow in certain seasons. Natural beauty, beauty from nature. Symbolic meaning, deeper cultural or emotional meaning.
And adjectives: delicate, colorful, bright, soft, beautiful, refreshing, decorative.
Use these to describe flowers naturally in IELTS. Okay. Now let's move to Part 2, the long-turn question. Your cue card is, describe a flower you like. You should say what flower it is, where you usually see it, how you first learned about it, and explain why you like it.
All right, here's my model answer. One flower I really like is the jasmine flower. It's a small white flower that has an incredibly sweet and calming fragrance. In my country, jasmine is very popular, and it's even considered a symbol of purity and beauty. I usually see jasmine flowers in gardens, parks, and sometimes in people's homes. Many households plant jasmine near their entrance because the smell spreads beautifully in the evening. I first learned about this flower when I was a child. My grandmother used to grow jasmine in her garden, and every evening she would pick a few flowers and place them near the windows. The whole house smelled fresh and peaceful. I like jasmine for several reasons. First, the fragrance is amazing. Not too strong, but very gentle and relaxing. Second, the flower reminds me of my childhood and the special moments I shared with my grandmother. And finally, jasmine is simple yet elegant, which makes it one of the most beautiful flowers in my opinion. Overall, jasmine holds both emotional and cultural value for me, and that's why it's one of my favorite flowers.
That was a great answer. Emotional, descriptive, and full of natural vocabulary.
Remember, describe the smell and appearance, add a memory, and explain why it matters to you.
Now, let's move on to part 3, deeper analytical questions. Question 1. Why do people like flowers?
People like flowers because they're naturally beautiful and can make any place feel warm and welcoming. Flowers also have emotional meanings. They're used for love, peace, sympathy, and celebration.
Question 2. Are flowers important in your culture?
Yes, very important. Flowers are used in weddings, religious ceremonies, and festivals. They symbolize purity, happiness, and respect, so they play a big role in cultural traditions.
Question 3. Do you think people spend too much money on flowers?
In some cases, yes. For example, during weddings, people buy expensive bouquets and decorations. But generally, flowers are affordable, and many people buy them simply to decorate their homes or show appreciation.
Exactly. You used useful connectors like in some cases, generally, for example, symbolize, play a big role. These help your answers sound natural and well-structured.
Yes, always support your ideas with reasons or examples.
All right, everyone, that's the end of today's IELTS speaking practice on flowers.
We covered Part 1, a sample cue card, vocabulary, and Part 3 discussion.
Here's your challenge. Record yourself answering this question. What flower do you like the most and why?
Speak for at least 1 minute, then listen to your recording to check clarity, pronunciation, and fluency.
Don't forget to subscribe to English Speakology for more weekly IELTS speaking lessons.
Let me start with something very honest. Most IELTS students don't fail the reading test because their English is weak. They fail because they read like students, not like test takers. If you are reading passages carefully, line by line, trying to understand every word, highlighting sentences, and then answering questions, you are working hard, but you are working wrong. In this video, I'm going to show you how IELTS reading really works, how Band 8 and Band 9 students think, and how you should practice using real strategy, not guesswork. And today, we will focus on understanding the strategy mindset and practicing with a sample paragraph, step by step, exactly like in the real exam. So don't just watch, think with me. Why IELTS reading is a skill test, not a knowledge test. Here's the first truth you must accept. IELTS reading is not testing how much vocabulary you know, how intelligent you are, or how good your memory is. IELTS reading is testing how fast you can locate information, how accurately you can match meaning, and how well you can avoid traps. That's why some students with strong English still score Band 6, while others with average English reach Band 7.5 or 8. The difference is strategy, the biggest mistake students make before practice. Most students open a Cambridge book and think, let me read the passage first. This is already a mistake. In the real IELTS exam, if you read the passage first, you waste time, forget information, increase pressure, and panic later. IELTS reading is not about memory. It is about searching. Questions guide your reading, not the passage. The correct thinking process. The correct order is question, keyword, location, answer, not passage, understanding, answer. If you change only this mindset, your score will already improve. Let's practice with a sample paragraph, real method. Now I want you to imagine this is your IELTS exam screen. Sample paragraph, shortened for practice. Urban green spaces, such as parks and community gardens, play a significant role in improving mental health. Research indicates that individuals living near green areas experience lower stress levels and improved mood. Moreover, regular exposure to nature has been linked to better concentration and reduced symptoms of anxiety and depression. Now, imagine you have this question. According to the passage, living near green spaces can help reduce stress. This is a true, false, not given question. Now, pause. Don't answer emotionally. rationally. Don't answer from general knowledge. Answer only from the text. Step 1. Identify the core meaning of the question. The question is saying, living near green spaces helps reduce stress. Now I go back to the paragraph and I don't read everything again. I scan for key words. Living near, green areas, stress. Immediately my eyes stop here. Individuals living near green areas experience lower stress levels and improved mood. This sentence directly matches the meaning of the question. The meaning is the same, the wording is different. So the answer is true. Notice something important. I did not translate. I did not analyze grammar. I did not read the full paragraph again. I matched meaning, not words. Why students lose marks in true-false not given. Many students fail this question type because they use outside knowledge, they assume information, or they don't separate false and not given. Let me explain with another question from the same paragraph. Question: urban green spaces are more beneficial than gyms for mental health. Now, pause again. Do we see gyms anywhere? No. Do we see comparison? No. Even if you personally believe this statement, IELTS does not care. So the answer is not given, not false. This is where strategy beats opinion. Why you should never panic about difficult words. Look at this word in the paragraph, moreover. Many students stop here and think, what does moreover mean? But do you really need to know it? No. You only need to understand that the writer is adding more information. In IELTS reading, you don't need full understanding. You need functional understanding. This alone saves you minutes. Now let's try a different question type. From the same paragraph, imagine this question. Sentence completion. Regular exposure to nature can improve blank. Now, what should you do? You don't look for the exact sentence first. You look for the phrase regular exposure. Your eyes quickly scan and stop here. Regular exposure to nature has been linked to better concentration. So the answer is better concentration. No guessing, no rewriting, exact words from the passage. Why IELTS loves synonyms. IELTS rarely repeats the same words. Instead of improve, they write linked to, associated with, results in. Instead of stress, they write anxiety, depression, pressure. This is why vocabulary knowledge matters, but only at the level of meaning, not memorization. How Band 8 students practice reading. Band 8 students do not practice by doing 5 passages a day. They practice like this: 1 passage, deep analysis, understanding traps, learning patterns. They don't ask, how many correct answers did I get? They ask, why did I lose this mark? The most dangerous habit in reading practice. Let me warn you about one habit that destroys scores: checking answers immediately after finishing. In the exam, you can't check answers. So during practice, sometimes you should finish the passage and move on without checking immediately. This trains your brain for real pressure. Time management truth, very important. You have 60 minutes. You must divide time smartly, but in practice, don't always rush. First, learn accuracy, then add speed. Speed without accuracy creates panic. Accuracy with strategy creates confidence. What you should feel while practicing. If your reading practice feels comfortable, you are not learning. You should feel mentally active, slightly challenged, and focused, but not overwhelmed, confused, or frustrated. If frustration comes, strategy is missing. The big myth about Passage 3. Let me clear one big misunderstanding. Passage 3 is not difficult because of vocabulary. It is difficult because ideas are abstract. Arguments are indirect. Traps are stronger. Students panic because they try to read it like Passage 1. That's the mistake. How you should approach Passage 2 versus Passage 3. Passage 2. Usually descriptive, process-based, factual, strategy. Questions are in order. So once you find one answer, the next answer is after that location. Passage 3. Usually opinion-based, research-focused, argumentative, strategy. Still in order,
but ideas are paraphrased heavily. So you must focus on meaning, ignore unfamiliar words, trust structure. Matching headings, the most feared question type. Most students hate matching headings. Why? Because they read the paragraph and think, this paragraph talks about many things. That's normal. IELTS doesn't ask what details are mentioned. IELTS asks, what is the main idea? The golden rule for matching headings: never read the paragraph word for word first. Instead, 1. Read the heading options first, understand their meaning, then scan the paragraph. Your brain needs a target. Sample practice matching headings. Sample paragraph. Over the past decade, remote work has transformed traditional employment structures. Advances in technology have enabled employees to collaborate across continents, reducing the need for physical offices. While some companies report increased productivity, others struggle with communication and team cohesion. Now imagine these headings. A. The challenges of teamwork. B. The technological shift in employment. C. The decline of office buildings. D. Employee dissatisfaction. Now pause. Which one matches the main idea? The paragraph is not mainly about challenges, not mainly about offices disappearing, not about dissatisfaction. The main focus is remote work changing employment due to technology. So the correct heading is B, the technological shift in employment. Notice we ignored details. We focused on central message. Why students choose wrong headings? They choose headings that match one sentence, or match a detail, or sound interesting. But IELTS wants overall meaning, not one line. Multiple choice questions, the trap zone. Multiple choice questions look easy. They are not. Each wrong option is designed to partially match, sound logical, and confuse you. There is usually one correct answer, 2 trap answers, and 1 extreme or irrelevant answer. Sample MCQ practice. Paragraph excerpt. Studies suggest that regular physical activity not only improves physical health, but also enhances cognitive function, particularly in older adults. Question: what is one benefit of regular physical activity mentioned in the passage? A. It prevents aging. B. It improves physical and mental abilities. C. It increases lifespan significantly. D. It replaces medical treatment. Correct answer, B. Why? Because A is too extreme, C adds information not stated, and D is unrealistic. IELTS loves exaggeration traps. If an option sounds too strong, it's usually wrong. A Band 8 rule for MCQs. Always ask, is this exactly what the passage says? Not more, not less. If it adds or removes meaning, wrong. Yes, no, not given versus true, false, not given. Many students confuse these. Here's the simple difference. True, false, not given, factual information. Yes, no, not given, writer's opinion. If the question asks, does the writer believe, you are in yes, no, not given territory. Common trap in not given. Students think, I can't find it, so it must be false. No, false means the opposite idea is clearly stated. Not given means the idea is missing completely. Time management for passage 2 and 3. Let me be honest, you don't need equal time for all passages. A smart approach is passage 1, 15 minutes, passage 2, 20 minutes, passage 3, 25 minutes. But during practice, focus on accuracy first, speed later. What to do when you're stuck? This is important. If you spend more than 90 seconds on one question, you must guess, mark it, and move on. A stuck question can steal 3 easy marks later. Band 8 students are not perfect. They are strategic. How to practice reading the right way. Bad practice is doing many tests, checking score only, repeating mistakes. Good practice is reviewing wrong answers, identifying trap type, and learning paraphrases. Ask yourself,
Why was my answer tempting but wrong? That question changes everything. Mental control during the test. IELTS reading is mentally exhausting, so don't react emotionally. Don't rush after one mistake. Don't try to recover speed aggressively. Stay neutral. Stay logical. Confidence comes from control, not speed. What you should notice by now, if you apply question-first strategy, meaning matching, and trap awareness, IELTS reading stops feeling random. It becomes predictable, and predictability is what Band 8 and Band 9 students rely on.
The real enemy in IELTS reading is not time. It is panic, overthinking, emotional reaction to mistakes. The moment you think, I'm running out of time, your brain stops processing logically. High scorers stay emotionally neutral. How Band 8 plus students handle Passage 3. Passage 3 often talks about research, theories, abstract concepts. Students try to understand everything and fail. Band 8 students do this instead. They understand structure, not details. They ask, is this paragraph introducing an idea? Is it supporting? Is it opposing? Is it concluding? This structural awareness saves time. Sample Passage 3 thinking, advanced. Paragraph, shortened. While early studies suggested that multitasking increased productivity, more recent research challenges this assumption. Psychologists now argue that frequent task switching reduces efficiency and increases cognitive fatigue. Now, imagine this question. The writer suggests that multitasking is beneficial for productivity. Now think carefully. The passage says early studies suggested benefit. Recent research challenges it. So the writer's current position is multitasking is not beneficial. Therefore, the answer is no. Writer disagrees. Notice, we didn't translate. We followed argument direction. Follow the writer, not the topic. This is a Band 8 rule. Always ask, is the writer supporting this idea or challenging it? Words like however, although, while, but, these are direction changers. They are extremely important in Passage 3. Intelligent guessing, very important. What to do when you don't understand a paragraph. This happens to everyone. Do not reread multiple times. Instead, skip confusing details. Focus on topic sentence. Match with question meaning. Understanding 60% accurately is enough.
Let me start with a truth that many IELTS students don't want to hear. Most students don't lose marks in IELTS listening because the audio is fast. They lose marks because their brain is not trained to listen in the IELTS way. I've seen students who speak English well, understand movies, and even communicate with foreigners, but still get stuck at Band 6 or 6.5 in listening. And on the other hand, I've seen students with average English reach Band 8 or even 9. So what's the difference? It's not vocabulary. It's not accent. It's not luck. It's strategy. And today, in this video series, I want to teach you how IELTS listening really works, how examiners design traps, and how you should listen. Not like a normal listener, but like a test taker who controls the audio instead of being controlled by it. Before starting the video, I want to ask you something. Would you like us to launch a complete IELTS course on this channel? If yes, please let us know in the comments. Before we practice, let me ask you something honestly. When the audio starts in the exam, what happens inside your mind? Do you feel nervous? Do you try to understand every single word? Do you panic if you miss one answer? If yes, you're not alone, but this mindset is exactly what keeps you away from Band 8+. IELTS listening is not about understanding everything. It's about catching the right information at the right time. Now, let me quickly explain the structure because understanding the structure changes everything. The IELTS listening test has 4 sections. Section 1 is usually a social conversation, booking a hotel, registering for a course, renting a house, 2 speakers, clear pronunciation,
Answers are mostly factual: names, numbers, dates, locations. Section 2 is a monologue, one person giving information, like a tour guide or an announcement. Still relatively easy, but distractions increase. Section 3 is where most students suffer, a discussion between 2-3 people, often students and a professor. Opinions change, people interrupt each other. Answers are not always direct. Section 4 is an academic lecture. No pauses, complex vocabulary, long sentences. Here's an important secret. IELTS is not testing your English equally in all sections. It is testing your attention, prediction, and control. Now let's talk about the biggest mistake students make. They listen like this: I must understand the whole audio. Band 9 students listen like this: I only care about answers. That's it. Let me show you what I mean using a sample audio-style explanation. Imagine this is section 1. You see the question paper, and the first question says, the customer's full name is blank. Before the audio starts, Band 9 students do something very powerful. They underline full name and immediately think, okay, I'm listening for a name, probably spelling. I need to be ready. Now the audio starts in your head.
Good morning, West Side Hotel. How can I help you?
Hi, I'd like to make a reservation.
Can I take your name, please?
This is a signal. IELTS always gives signals. Now comes the answer.
Yes, it's Daniel Thompson.
That's Daniel Thompson, Thompson. If you were mentally prepared, this answer is easy, but many students miss it because they weren't ready. They were reading the next question, or they panicked earlier. Listening is not passive, it's active prediction. Now let's move deeper. Another common problem is spelling and numbers. IELTS loves testing double letters, silent letters, similar sounds, teen versus tie numbers. For example, listen to this imaginary audio. Imagine this audio in section 2. The museum opens at 9 a.m. on weekdays, but on weekends it opens at 10. The question says, what time does the museum open on Saturday? Many students write 9 a.m. because they heard it first, but IELTS rewards patience. The correct answer is 10 a.m. Here's the rule. The first answer you hear is often wrong. IELTS does this on purpose. Now I want to talk about something very important: reading and listening together. IELTS listening is not only listening, it's reading while listening. If your eyes are slow, your ears don't matter. Band 9 students read the next question while listening to the current one. This is a skill, not talent. Let me show you again with a sample explanation. Imagine you're answering question 5. While the speaker is explaining question 5, your eyes are already on question 6. So when the speaker moves on, you're ready. This is how Band 9 students stay ahead of the audio. Now let's talk about accents. IELTS uses British, Australian, American, and sometimes mixed accents. Many students say, "Sir, the accent is difficult." But the truth is IELTS does not test accent understanding. It tests key word recognition. You don't need to understand the whole sentence. You need to catch names, numbers, places, changes, comparisons. For example, we initially planned to start the course in March, but due to unforeseen circumstances, it has been postponed to April. The answer is April. You don't need to understand unforeseen circumstances. Band 9 students ignore noise and catch meaning. Now, let me tell you something personal. When I first practiced IELTS listening, I used to pause the audio again and again. I thought that was helping me. It wasn't. It was training my brain to depend on pauses, something the real exam will never give you. The moment I stopped pausing, my listening improved dramatically. So here's a rule I followed. Practice like the real test. No pause, no rewind, no excuses. At first, your score may drop, but then your brain adapts. Section 3 is not harder English, it's harder attention management. Imagine a question that says, why did the students prefer Project A over Project B? Now, the audio starts.
Student 1, I think Project A was easier to research. Student 2, but I liked Project B because it allowed more creative ideas.
Student 1, yes, but Project B required extra data collection, and we had only 2 weeks.
Professor, remember, both projects meet the criteria, but one is simpler for a smaller group.
Here's where students make mistakes. They try to memorize every opinion or get stuck on the first student's words, then they miss the answer. The trick is focus on the question type. If the question asks, why did they prefer Project A, the answer is not everything in the conversation, only reasons for Project A. So what do Band 9 students do differently? 1. Highlight keywords in the question. Prefer Project A, listen only for reasons related to Project A. 2. Ignore distractions. Opinions about Project B or extra comments from other students are not relevant. 3. Paraphrase mentally. When student 1 says, Project A was easier to research, your brain immediately notes easier research equals answer. Now let's talk about tricky multiple choice questions, another common pitfall in Section 3. Imagine a question. Which of the following reasons did the students give for choosing Project A? A. Easy research. B. Creative freedom. C. Short deadlines. D. Group support. The audio says,
Project A was simpler to research, but Project B gave more creative freedom.
Project A required less preparation than B. Many students rush and choose B because it sounds positive. That's exactly what IELTS traps you with, the attractive but incorrect option. Band 9 students don't get distracted by positive or emotional language. They match words or ideas to the question, not feelings. Notice the correct answers here. Simpler to research matches A, easy research. Even though B sounded good, it wasn't mentioned in the context of Project A. Next, let's discuss note-taking and spelling. One mistake students make is writing while the audio is speaking, trying to copy full sentences. This slows you down. Band 9 students use shorthand and key words. For example, original audio, we visited the museum at 10 a.m. and spent around 2 hours observing the exhibits. Band 9 note, museum, 10 o'clock, 2 hours. Notice meaning captured, not every word. This allows you to follow Section 4 lectures without losing focus. Speaking of Section 4, this is the academic monologue, the toughest for most students. Often, a lecturer explains a topic with complex vocabulary. Key strategy here, listen for structure, not vocabulary. For example, imagine the lecture says, photosynthesis is the process by which green plants and some other organisms use sunlight to synthesize nutrients from carbon dioxide and water. Photosynthesis in plants generally involves the green pigment chlorophyll and generates oxygen as a byproduct. Students panic. I don't know all these words. Band 9 students focus on key words and process. Topic, photosynthesis. Key points, sunlight, carbon dioxide plus water, nutrients, chlorophyll, oxygen. Then they can answer a question like, what is produced during photosynthesis? Answer, oxygen. See how you don't need to understand every word? You just catch the structure and signal words. Now let's practice sample audio style solving together. Question. Complete the notes. The lecture mentioned 3 main functions of the liver. 1, 2, 3, Imagine the audio. The liver performs several vital functions. First, it detoxifies chemicals from the blood. Second, it produces bile to aid digestion. Third, it stores vitamins and nutrients for later use. How do you capture this efficiently? Band 9 approach. 1. Listen to the first function, detoxifies chemicals, write detox. 2. Second, produces bile, write bile/digestion. 3. Third, stores vitamins/nutrients, write stores vitamins/nutrients. Notice, short, clear, and fast. You didn't try to copy the full sentence. You captured what matters. Next, let's talk about time management, another reason students lose marks. Some students spend too long on Section 1 because it feels easy. Others panic in Section 3 or 4. Rule for Band 9 students: Section 1, 8 to 10 minutes, Section 2, 7 to 8 minutes, Section 3, 10 to 12 minutes, Section 4, 10 to 12 minutes. Keep watch on the clock, not on every word. You must move forward, otherwise later answers are lost. Now, here's a trick that I personally teach all my students. Predict before you hear. Before the audio starts, read the question and quickly ask yourself, what type of word am I listening for? Name, number, date, location? How long is the answer likely to be? One word? Phrase? Are there any distractors I should ignore? Prediction is like warming up your brain. You don't just passively hear, you're already halfway to the answer before the speaker starts. Finally, let's talk about common traps that destroy Band 7 potential. 1. Overwriting, writing extra words not required. 2. Missing plural forms. Examiners are strict. Cat does not equal cats. 3. Rushing. Panic causes skipped questions. 4. Ignoring instructions. If it says one word only, don't write more. Here's an example using imaginary Section 4 audio. Question. Complete the sentence. The main function of the mitochondria is dash. Audio. The mitochondria are often called the powerhouse of the cell because they produce energy for the organism. Many students write, produce energy for the organism, especially ATP, from glucose and oxygen. Correct Band 9 answer, produce energy.
Imagine this as if we're sitting together in a real exam room. I'll guide you through sections 1 to 4 with sample audio so you can see exactly how Band 9 students approach each question type and avoid common traps. Section 1 Practice. Conversation. Section 1 is usually a social conversation. Let's imagine the scenario. Booking a hotel room. Question. Complete the booking details. Full name, arrival date, number of nights. Audio. Receptionist. Good morning. Welcome to Sunshine Hotel. How can I help you today? Customer. Hi, I'd like to book a room for next weekend. Receptionist. Sure. Can I have your full name, please? Customer. Yes, it's Emily Carter. Receptionist. Great. And what date will you be arriving? Customer. The 15th of June. Receptionist. Perfect. And how many nights will you be staying? Customer. 3 nights. Notice the Band 5/6 mistake. Students try to write full sentences, miss a word, or get distracted by the greeting. Band 9 approach. Read the question before the audio. Keywords, full name, arrival date, number of nights. Listen only for the required information. Write quickly and accurately. Full name, Emily Carter. Arrival date, 15 June. Number of nights, 3. Rule. Don't write greetings, extra words, or repeat sentences. Only answer what is asked. Section 2 Practice. Monologue or announcement. Section 2 often involves one speaker, giving information about tours, events, or instructions. Question. Complete the schedule. Museum opening time, special exhibition, admission fee. Audio. Guide. The History Museum opens at 9 a.m. from Monday to Friday and at 10 a.m. on weekends. This week, there's a special exhibition on ancient Egypt. Adult admission is $12 and children under 12 are free. Common student mistakes. Writing 9 a.m. for all days. Missed the weekend difference. Writing the full sentence instead of key words. Band 9 approach. Open eyes on the question. Notice weekend or general. Listen carefully. Weekends, 10 a.m. Write 10 a.m. Special exhibition, Ancient Egypt. Admission fee, $12. Notice, you don't need every word. Capture meaning and numbers clearly. Section 3 Practice. Academic
academic discussion. Now comes the tricky part. Section 3, usually a discussion between students and a tutor. Multiple opinions, interruptions, and tricky wording. Question type, multiple choice. Why did the students prefer Project A? A, easier research. B, creative freedom. C, short deadlines. D, group support. Audio. Student 1. Project A was simpler to research. Student 2. Project B seemed more creative. Student 1. We only had 2 weeks, so Project A was faster to complete. Professor. Both projects meet the requirements, but consider time constraints. Band 9 strategy. Focus on the question, reasons for Project A, ignore B discussions, distractors, listen for key words, simpler, faster, match A and C. Choose A, easier research, and C, short deadlines. Tip, multiple choice traps often sound correct emotionally, but don't match the question. Always check alignment with what is asked. Section 4 practice. Academic lecture. Section 4 is the academic monologue, usually fast and with complex vocabulary. Question. Complete the summary. Photosynthesis produces blank, uses blank, and involves the pigment blank. Audio. Photosynthesis allows plants to produce glucose and oxygen from carbon dioxide and water. This process requires sunlight and involves chlorophyll, the green pigment found in leaves. Band 9 approach. Listen for keywords glucose, oxygen, carbon dioxide, water, chlorophyll. Complete summary quickly. Produces glucose, oxygen, uses carbon dioxide, water, pigment, chlorophyll. In conclusion, Band 9 listening is not about understanding every word. It's about prediction, keyword recognition, ignoring distractions, efficient note-taking, calm and confident mindset. If you master these strategies, you can move from Band 6 to 7 to Band 8 or 9 even if English is not your first language.
Why do so many IELTS candidates spend months preparing, write dozens of essays, memorize templates, and still remain stuck at Band 5.5 or 6 in writing Task 2? The problem is not your English. The problem is not your ideas. The problem is that you were never taught how IELTS actually evaluates your writing. Most students think writing Task 2 is about writing a long, impressive essay. But IELTS examiners are not reading your essay like a school teacher. They are reading it like an assessor with a checklist. And if you understand that checklist, writing Task 2 stops being scary. In this video series, I'll show you how to think like a Band 7, 8, or 9 candidate, not by using advanced words, but by using clear strategy. Why the introduction paragraph matters so much. Many students rush the introduction. They think, it's just a formality. That's a huge mistake. The introduction paragraph does 3 very important things. It shows the examiner that you understood the question. It sets the direction of your entire essay. It directly affects your task response score. A weak introduction creates doubt in the examiner's mind. A clear introduction builds trust, and trust is everything in IELTS writing. What examiners want to see in the introduction? Let me make this very clear. The examiner does not want a hook, a quote, a historical background, fancy vocabulary. They want 3 simple things: the topic paraphrased correctly, the task addressed clearly, your position stated if required. That's it. If you do these 3 things clearly, your introduction is already Band 7 level. Common mistakes students make in introductions. Before we practice, let's talk about mistakes. One very common mistake is copying the question. If the question says, "Some people believe that," and your introduction starts with, "Some people believe that," this shows poor paraphrasing skills. Another mistake is writing too much. Your introduction should be 2 to 3 sentences, not a paragraph-long story. Another big mistake is not giving an opinion when the question asks for it. If the question says, give your opinion, and you don't clearly state it, you immediately lose marks. Let's practice with a real Task 2 question. Here is our practice question. Some people think that governments should invest more money in public transportation, while others believe improving roads for cars is more important. Discuss both views and give your opinion. Before writing anything, stop. Do not start writing yet. First, we analyze. Step 1. Identify the topic. What is the topic? Transportation investment. More specifically, public transport, roads for cars. Step 2. Identify the task. What does the question ask you to do? Discuss both views. Give your opinion. 2 tasks. Both must be completed. Step 3. Decide your position. You must choose a position. For example, I believe investing in public transportation is more beneficial. There is no correct answer, only clear answers. Step 4. Build the introduction. Live thinking. Now we build the introduction. First sentence. Paraphrase the topic. Instead of some people think, we can say, it is often argued that. Instead of invest more money, we can say allocate greater funding. So our first sentence becomes, it is often argued that governments should allocate greater funding to public transportation systems, while others believe improving roads for private vehicles is more important. Second sentence, give your opinion. In my opinion, prioritizing public transport development offers greater long-term benefits for society. That's it. 2 sentences. Clear, direct, band 7+ level. Why this introduction works. Let me explain why this works. The topic is clearly introduced, both views are mentioned, the opinion is stated clearly. No memorized phrases, no unnecessary words. The examiner feels confident reading this. What Band 5 introductions usually look like. Now let's see a weak version. Nowadays, transportation is a very important thing in our life. Many people have different opinions about it, and I will discuss in this essay. This is very general, very unclear, no real paraphrasing, no opinion. This is why students get stuck at Band 5.5. How long should your introduction be? Another important question. Your introduction should be 40 to 60 words. 2 to 3 sentences. If it's longer, you're wasting time. If it's shorter but unclear, you lose marks. Balance is key. One more practice example. Question. Some people believe that university education should be free for everyone. Others think students should pay for their studies. Discuss both views and give your opinion. Introduction. It is often debated whether university education should be provided free of charge for all students or whether individuals should bear the cost themselves. In my view, while free education has certain advantages, students should contribute to the cost to ensure quality and responsibility. Simple, clear, effective. Now that we have written a strong introduction, let's move to the most important section of IELTS Writing Task 2, the body paragraphs. This is where most students either gain bands or lose bands. I want you to understand one very important truth before we start. IELTS examiners do not check how intelligent you are. They check how clearly you can organize ideas and support them. So let's break this down step by step. Understanding the role of body paragraphs. In Task 2, body paragraphs have 3 main purposes. Answer the question directly, explain one main idea clearly, support that idea with logic, examples, or explanation. A Band 5 or 6 student usually writes too many ideas in one paragraph, gives no example, or writes an example that is not connected. A Band 7+ student writes one clear idea per paragraph, explains it logically, uses a simple but relevant example. We'll now practice this properly. Body paragraph 1. Strategy. Let's use this sample IELTS writing question throughout the lesson. Some people believe that studying abroad brings more advantages than disadvantages. Discuss both views and give your own opinion. In body paragraph 1, we usually discuss one side, either advantages or disadvantages. Structure of body paragraph 1. Always follow this order.
topic sentence, main idea, explanation, why this idea is true, example, real life or logical example, link sentence, connect back to the question. Let me show you how this looks in practice. Body paragraph 1, sample practice, advantages, topic sentence. One major advantage of studying abroad is that students are exposed to a high-quality education system and international teaching standards. This sentence is clear, focused, and directly answers the question. Explanation. Many developed countries invest heavily in their education systems, offering modern facilities, experienced faculty members, and updated course content that focuses on practical skills rather than rote learning. Notice something important here. No complex vocabulary, simple but clear explanation, fully connected to the topic sentence. This is what examiners love. Example. For example, a student who studies engineering in countries like Germany or Canada not only learns advanced technical knowledge, but also gains hands-on experience through internships and research-based projects, which are often limited in developing countries. This example is specific, sounds realistic, supports the main idea. You do not need statistics. You do not need real names. You just need logical relevance. Link sentence. As a result, studying abroad significantly improves students' academic and professional prospects in the global job market. This sentence neatly closes the paragraph and links back to the advantages.
Full body paragraph 1. One major advantage of studying abroad is that students are exposed to a high-quality education system and international teaching standards. Many developed countries invest heavily in their education systems, offering modern facilities, experienced faculty members, and updated course content that focuses on practical skills rather than rote learning. For example, a student who studies engineering in countries like Germany or Canada not only learns advanced technical knowledge, but also gains hands-on experience through internships and research-based projects, which are often limited in developing countries. As a result, studying abroad significantly improves students' academic and professional prospects in the global job market. Common mistakes students make in body paragraph 1. Let me quickly warn you about some mistakes I see every day. Writing 2 advantages in 1 paragraph. Giving a very short example. Writing an example without explanation. Memorizing fancy vocabulary without meaning. Remember, clarity greater than vocabulary. Body paragraph 2. Strategy. Now let's move to body paragraph 2. This paragraph usually presents the opposite view, or another major point related to the question. In our question, body paragraph 2 will discuss disadvantages of studying abroad. Body paragraph 2 structure. The structure remains exactly the same. Topic sentence, explanation, example, link sentence. Consistency is key. Topic sentence. However, despite these benefits, studying abroad also comes with several challenges, particularly financial pressure and emotional stress. Notice the connector. However, clearly signals contrast. The examiner immediately understands you are presenting the other view. Explanation. International education is often extremely expensive, including tuition fees, accommodation, health insurance, and daily living costs, which can place a heavy burden on students and their families. This explanation directly supports the topic sentence, clearly identifies the problem. Example. For instance, a student studying in the United States or the United Kingdom may struggle to manage part-time work alongside academic responsibilities, leading to stress, poor academic performance, or even dropping out. This example is realistic, emotionally logical, and strongly connected to the disadvantage. Link sentence. Therefore, without proper financial planning and emotional preparedness, studying abroad can become overwhelming for many students. Again, this paragraph easily fits Band 7+ criteria. Practice task for viewers, very important. Before moving, I want you to practice.
Take this question. Some people think that technology has made life more convenient, while others believe it has made life more stressful. Discuss both views and give your opinion. Try writing body paragraph 1, convenience, body paragraph 2, stress. Now it's time to finish the essay the right way, with a strong, examiner-friendly conclusion. Many students lose band score here, not because they don't know English, but because they don't know what IELTS wants. Let me make this very clear. A conclusion is not a summary paragraph. A conclusion is your final decision plus balance. Why the conclusion is so important. The conclusion is short but powerful. It tells the examiner you understood the question. You can evaluate both views. You can clearly express your opinion. A weak conclusion can pull a Band 7 essay down to Band 6. A strong conclusion can push a Band 6.5 essay to Band 7. So let's master this.
Conclusion structure. Your conclusion should have only 2 to 3 sentences. The perfect IELTS conclusion structure: paraphrase the question briefly, state your opinion clearly, optional recommendation or future outlook. That's it. No new ideas, no examples, no long explanations. Conclusion practice. Sample question. Let's continue with the same question. Some people believe that studying abroad brings more advantages than disadvantages. Discuss both views and give your own opinion. In conclusion, although studying abroad offers valuable educational and professional opportunities, it also presents financial and emotional challenges. In my opinion, the advantages outweigh the disadvantages for students who plan carefully and are mentally prepared. Therefore, studying abroad can be a rewarding experience when approached with realistic expectations. Let's analyze why this works. It summarizes both sides. Opinion is clear. Language is simple but formal, no repetition of body ideas. This is exactly what IELTS examiners want. How to express opinion correctly. Very important. Many students ask me, should I write I think or not? The answer is yes, but carefully. Safe opinion phrases for IELTS. You can use, in my opinion, I believe that, from my perspective, I strongly believe. A formal tone always wins. Where to give your opinion. Depending on the question type, opinion or agree-disagree, opinion in introduction and conclusion. Discuss both views, opinion in conclusion, safe option, problem solution, opinion in solution section. If you're confused, always put opinion in the conclusion. It is the safest strategy. Full task 2 answer. Band 7 to 8 model. Now I will read the complete essay so you can see how everything connects smoothly. Full essay. Introduction. In recent years, studying abroad has become increasingly popular among students seeking better education and career opportunities. While some people believe that international education offers more benefits, others argue that it also involves serious drawbacks. This essay will discuss both views before presenting my own opinion. Body paragraph 1. One major advantage of studying abroad is that students are exposed to a high-quality education system and international teaching standards. Many developed countries invest heavily in their education systems, offering modern facilities, experienced faculty members, and updated course content that focuses on practical skills rather than rote learning. For example, a student who studies engineering in countries like Germany or Canada not only learns advanced technical knowledge, but also gains hands-on experience through internships and research-based projects, which are often limited in developing countries. As a result, studying abroad significantly improves students' academic and professional prospects in the global job market. Body paragraph 2. However, despite these benefits, studying abroad also comes with several challenges, particularly financial pressure and emotional stress. International education is often extremely expensive, including tuition fees, accommodation, health insurance, and daily living costs, which can place a heavy burden on students and their families.
For example, a student studying in the United States or the United Kingdom may struggle to manage part-time work alongside academic responsibilities, leading to stress, poor academic performance, or even dropping out. Therefore, without proper financial planning and emotional preparedness, studying abroad can become overwhelming for many students. Conclusion. In conclusion, although studying abroad offers valuable educational and professional opportunities, it also presents financial and emotional challenges. In my opinion, the advantages outweigh the disadvantages for students who plan carefully and are mentally prepared. Therefore, studying abroad can be a rewarding experience when approached with realistic expectations. Why this essay scores band 7 to 8? Let me tell you exactly why. Task response. All parts of the question answered. Opinion clearly stated. Coherence and cohesion. Logical paragraph structure. Clear linking words. Lexical resource. Topic-related vocabulary. No unnecessary memorization. Grammar. Mostly error-free. Complex sentences used naturally. Common conclusion mistakes, writing new ideas in conclusion, rewriting body paragraphs, making the conclusion too long, forgetting to give your opinion. Remember, short, clear, confident. Let me end this lesson with something very honest. Most students fail IELTS writing not because they lack vocabulary, they lack grammar. They fail because they overthink, they panic, they don't follow a clear structure. If you follow one idea per paragraph, clear explanation, simple examples, short conclusion, band 7+ is achievable.